I'm Jason Sipe, and this is the Indiana Libertarian Update for the week of February 12th, 2017. We've got a contender. That's right, Tim Maguire, our friend from Marion County, has announced his bid for LPIN State Chair. We'll be chatting with him in just a few. We've also got the latest events and tales of government malfeasance among Indianapolis law enforcement. Let me shuffle things around here. I want to share this graphic today that was provided by our friends over at the Institute for Justice and shared by the folks at the Libertarian Party of Marion County. Police have a profit incentive to seize your property. Right now, the Indiana Constitution says quite clearly that law enforcement keeps nothing from civil asset forfeiture. If you're not familiar with the topic, do some research on it, but most libertarians are vehemently opposed to the very concept of civil asset forfeiture. But even if you are okay with it, right now it seems that the City of Indianapolis and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office is in direct violation of that. The schools are supposed to get any of the resources generated from civil asset forfeiture, and that creates no profit incentive for the police to take your stuff. That's not the case in Indianapolis. Law enforcement keeps everything. The schools get nothing, and the police in Indianapolis have a real reason to take your stuff because they get to keep it. If you'd like to know more about this case, visit our friends at the Institute for Justice. That's ij.org, and just do a quick Google search for ij.org Indiana civil forfeiture case. They are in the process of fighting this in court. We're hoping to get some more details about this and perhaps have a representative from the Institute for Justice on next week's edition of the Indiana Libertarian Update. Okay. The Indiana Libertarian Update has the latest contender for LPIN State Chair, Tim Maguire. That's going to be coming up in just a minute. But first, let's check on libertarian news and events from throughout the state of Indiana. Not quite as busy as last week, but we got a lot of things to cover, so give me just a moment to shuffle things around here. Remember, I am a production crew of one, but we're doing okay. Kick things off on February 14th. Happens to be Valentine's. Go spread the love with the Southern Indiana Louisville Libertarian Meetup. This happens on this side of the river at Kingfish Restaurant on Riverside Drive there in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Our good friend Greg Hirsch has organized this. They kick things off at 7 p.m. and are expected to run till at least 9. So bring a date on this Valentine's Day edition of the Southern Indiana and Louisville Libertarian Meetup. This Wednesday and every Wednesday, the folks at the First Church of Cannabis, led by our good friend Bill Levin, have their services. That starts at 7:30 p.m. If you've never been, I highly encourage it. You're going to find an eclectic mix of parishioners there at the First Church of Cannabis. It's a lot of fun. You're going to meet a lot of interesting people, and it's also going to give you an opportunity to support one of the most interesting cases that we've seen come through the state of Indiana in some time. Don't forget, Bill has run as a libertarian on several occasions in the past, and I'd be surprised if we don't see him do that again at some point in the future. Looking ahead to February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, you can also be sure to get down to the State House. Our good friends at the League of Women Voters of Indianapolis are having their Pack the House for a redistricting reform event. That runs from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the Indiana State House. And if you, like so many of us do, see that the gerrymandering in Indiana does little but reinforce the two-party monopoly on our state's politics, this is an opportunity for you to get down to the State House and voice your opinion regarding the matter. This coming Saturday, the 18th, our state central committee for the Libertarian Party will be having their meeting. That happens at the Antelope Club here in Indianapolis. It's from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. They'll be talking about the details of the operations of the Libertarian Party. If you've ever been curious about what goes on to keep this party together, to keep us running and keep us effective, be sure to visit the Antelope Club next Saturday, February 18th, from 10 a.m. to noon. Now, we also have a pretty interesting event coming up. This is hosted by America's Future Foundation. That is a nonpartisan group, but I know a few libertarians are active in it, and they tend to have some very interesting programs that they provide that promote free enterprise, free choice, and smaller government. This event is going to be Tuesday, February 28th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. and you can learn about Ball State's Schneider Institute with Steve Horwitz. This is an economics institute that's dedicated to the concept of free enterprise. And this will be a very interesting program. It's held over at Liberty Street on Mass Avenue. If you've never been there before, it's a great facility, a great place, and these events hosted by the American Future Foundation tend to be a lot of fun. They usually even pick up the tab for that first drink, so be sure to get over to Liberty Street on next Tuesday, February 28th. On March 16th, that's still a little more than a month away, the folks of the Libertarian Party of Lake County are going to be having their convention and officers' elections. That's going to be happening at Houlihan's in Cherville, and that's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, March 16th, a little more than a month away. If you're interested in a leadership position or just want to get involved with the Libertarian Party up in the region, this is a great opportunity. Some very strong folks have really done some great building up in that part of the state, and we want to make sure that they continue to keep the libertarian perspective in the forefront of people's minds. And of course, the most important event coming up in the next couple of months is the LPIN State Convention. That is going to be happening May 5th down in beautiful Evansville, Indiana. If you have a hankering for some action, well, we've got it. It'll be happening at the gaming tables there at the casino, and also on the convention floor. It looks like we have a contested race for state chair. I think that's going to be a great deal, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. Okay, now I'm happy to count this week's guest among my personal friends. If you never had a chance to meet Tim Maguire in person, you will have that opportunity at the LPIN in May, or perhaps sooner, as he makes his rounds throughout Indiana in his campaign to be the next chairperson of the Libertarian Party. As promised, here's our interview previously recorded this week with Tim Maguire. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's interview for the Indiana Libertarian Update. One of the few news flashes that we've ever done here at the Update was announcing that Tim Maguire has thrown his hat into the ring to be the chairperson of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. Now, of course, many of you know Tim Maguire if you've been active at the state or local level here in Marion County. He's been a figure in leadership and also just as a candidate and a general supporter of the Libertarian Party for many years now. Tim and his wife have been around the scene for many years, and I'll leave it at that and let you take the introduction from there, Tim. What can you tell folks of our viewers about who Tim Maguire is today?
Well, my wife and I have been living in Indianapolis for quite a while now, and we're small business owners. And as you said, I'm a former county chairman of Marion County, former candidate for Marion County, also former board member to the Indianapolis Board of Zoning Appeals. So I served in that capacity for a couple of years. Yeah, no, excited to be here, and excited for this chance to run for our state party's top position.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, over the last couple of years, basically since you left leadership at the county level here at Marion County, you laid low for a little while. Not so much that you weren't available for those when we came and needed your help in one form or another, but you kind of let your business take the front seat, as it probably should have for the last couple of years. What prompted this kind of renewed interest in leadership with the Libertarian Party?
Sure, that's a great question. So, as you know, and I'm not shy about talking about it, I have an unflinching desire for goal of winning, and I think we as libertarians should be focused on helping libertarians get elected to public office. When Chairman Joe Houtman announced that he was going to step down, I saw an opportunity that, maybe we can take a look at the party and take a look at all the renewed interest that we've been having since the 2016 election, and re-examine everything that we're doing, and maybe admit to ourselves that, what we try to tell voters, that if we keep trying the same things over and over again and keep expecting the same result, that's what we would call the definition of insanity. So I kind of want to, like I said, re-examine everything, slay some sacred cows, and try some new radical ideas to help libertarians get elected to office.
Okay. Well, and just to take it head on, you've addressed where you're at on the debate of whether we should be involved in policy making and more of a philosophical approach to libertarianism, or should we be putting people in office? Obviously, you believe that we should be putting people in office. What do you say to those people who believe that the most important thing the Libertarian Party does is develop philosophy, develop policy that influences the elected officials we currently have?
Well, I would say that there's a number of organizations out there that already do that. We have the Cato Institute, we have the Reason Foundation. There are a number of, there's also a couple organizations locally. There's the Americans Future Foundation.
For prosperity.
Oh yeah, Americans for Prosperity as well. There's a number of organizations that already exist to move policy forward and to change hearts and minds. Our organization is a political party, and the point of a political party is to elect libertarians or it's elect people to office. So I have not. Obviously, we need to educate the public, but that's not our role as a political party. We need to work with the educational organizations certainly, but we should focus on what we're here to do, because it'd be the same thing as if Reason Foundation tried to start electing people to office. It's just not a good fit.
Okay, very interesting. Now, there's been a lot of talk over this on this subject over the years. How do we make it a reality? How do we start getting more elected libertarians in the state of Indiana?
And as you know, Jason, I've mentioned this quite often during meetings at Marion County. I think we need to start small and work our way up. We're not going to win a congressional race this year, but there are a number of local races that we could start winning and start proving to the voters that that we're a viable party and that we have viable candidates. So, just to kind of give you some ideas of some of my plan for the next couple of years, and just to kind of work backwards. So through 2019, my vision is that we've got 20, 25 really good candidates in winnable races, running for municipal races or town races, and we win them, or at least come very close to winning them all in 2019. Now, the way that we get there is we need to start building up some support. So in 2018, we take just a few local races, maybe state house races, maybe a county commissioner race, and we pick a few that look like they're strategically viable, and we find good candidates to run in them, and we throw everything behind them and just win them outright. Build up the moral support and use those campaigns to train everybody else on how to run a professional campaign. As well as during that same process, we're going to recruit and find new volunteers and new people. Those people that we find throughout the year of 2018, 2017, will be starting to identify people that we want to plug into office in 2019 after they've gotten some experience. Obviously, what we have to do to even get there in 2018 is we need to spend the next year rebuilding the party infrastructure here in 2017.
Okay, well, and let's take it from there. So the party infrastructure, where are we at now, and where do we need to go next?
Sure. So we've got a state central committee headed up by the chairman and 3 other officers, and then 9 district reps. Then we have county affiliates with the same situation. They've got usually 4 officers that are kind of running everything in the party. And the county affiliates, everybody in the county, kind of works with the county party, and the county parties all report up to the state central committee. What I would like to do is add some more layers to that. Obviously don't want to take away anyone's role or infringe on anybody's authority, but I want to add some roles to it and maybe start creating some key volunteer roles, like a technology director, a marketing director, a development director. Outreach directors, and start at the top and have those people report directly to the SCC, and then we start filling out their teams downward. We find local people that want to just work just in central Indiana or just in southern Indiana, or we find somebody that just wants to work in the district, and then we just and then we also find people within counties and maybe even townships as well. And working hand in hand with the county parties, but ultimately being accountable to the state central committee, um, and um, and providing some resources and some coordination between all the different county parties in the state, so that we're working together, we're maximizing resources, and we don't have all this duplication of efforts that we have right now.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you have some very clear ideas on how to make things happen and a vision of where you want the party to be. One of the things that I've traditionally seen as an issue is resources, and it's not just monetary resources, but perhaps more importantly is the human resource. You mentioned recruiting. How do we recruit, but also how do we get those monetary resources? How do we collect those resources overall?
Well, the first step to fundraising is to make the ask. I think traditionally our party has done a very bad job of asking people to donate, and giving them a reason to donate. So I know in the past year we've had a lot of 1994 Society members fall off. I think we need to reach out to all of our past donors, ask them to re-up, and we need to start, instead of always focusing on creating new membership, realizing that there's a lot of people out there that would be willing to give us money that don't really care about membership. So maybe adding a new kind of donor where they're just donating to the party, and we're not really worried about their membership status. As far as recruiting, one of the things I've shared is an organizational chart of how I see the structure of the LPIN kind of working. And again, I'm not looking to change the bylaws or override anyone's authority, but just adding to the overall structure. One of the benefits of having a detailed organizational plan is that as we come across new people who are interested in getting involved in the libertarian movement, instead of them, talking to their local county people and say, hey, how can I get involved? And even in Marion County last year, Jason, we had a hard time finding things to do for people who came along and were volunteering. Now we would have some predefined, clear roles that they could fill immediately. We could ask them, well, what are your interests? They're like, well, I really like marketing. Okay, great. Can you be our state marketing director? Well, I can't handle all of that. Okay, great. Can you handle it for for Northern Indiana? Yeah, I can do that. Okay, great. That's your role. And so we have predefined roles that we can actually put new people to work right away. Jason, I'm sure you've seen this in your roles with the party in the past. We get a lot of new people every year, and we lose them almost that quickly as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's been one of the problems is so many times we have people who are interested, they're excited, and we don't really have the activities and the particular duties to connect them with. And I think that has been a problem. I have really advocated, I see a real need for a volunteer coordinator, one person who can step in and say, okay, we have a new contact, they're interested in performing some things, this is the list of things that we need, and we know that we can connect them with from the state all the way down to the county or municipal level where they might be needed in campaigns and this type of thing.
Yeah, and that's
so all this.
And that's something the party should be taking a leadership role on and helping the county parties.
Okay. Well, a couple of administrative questions that come to mind, and having some thoughts on where the party has been trying to make some inroads over the last couple of years. The executive director situation. Which side of the fence do you come on? Do you think we need a full-time paid executive director for the state, or is this something that could be best filled by part-time or even volunteer people?
Well, obviously, the realities of the situation might dictate what we do immediately. But no, long term, we absolutely need a full-time executive director that's basically running the party and answering to the state central committee. In addition to that, I don't even think that's enough. I do think some of our key volunteer positions, some of these director positions that I'd like to create, I think we need to start paying them a little bit of money, because a lot of these roles are very large roles that we need filled in the state party, and we need to start compensating individuals for their time and talent.
I could say that a stipend of one form or another might influence people to take more leadership roles, especially.
Or, at the very least, can we start paying travel expenses so that people aren't losing money for their volunteer efforts?
Absolutely. Well, very interesting ideas there. So, if people are interested in supporting you, or at least wanting to know more about Tim Maguire, how do they get in touch with you? Where can they find out more about your plans and specifics?
Sure. Well, you can always give me a call. I'm willing to, put my phone number out there. My cell phone is 317-372-6436. My email is indytim33@gmail.com. That's INDYTIM 33 at gmail.com. I created it when I was 33 years old. And then my Facebook page, I've got obviously my personal Facebook page, which I usually use for business more than anything. But I do have a political Facebook page, which is my politician page that I've uploaded a lot of some detailed plans of everything that we've talked here today, as well as a sample organizational structure that I think would work very well for organization. So that political page is the same name as my personal page, unfortunately. It's Timothy J. Maguire, last name spelled Maguire. I encourage people to reach out to me there and read what I have put out there and contact me with questions and concerns.
Absolutely. Now, as we go into the convention, we've talked to a couple of people here at Indiana Libertarian Update, Margaret Fetty and also Jesse Riddell. Riddle? Riddle. I always struggle with this pronunciation of his name. And both of them have expressed interest in running. What are your thoughts on a contested convention down in Evansville this year?
Oh, I think it's great. I think, and a lot of people were concerned last year with the contested governor's race. I think contested races only make us better. I mean, obviously, it's encouraging me to, put together an actual plan and present it to and coming on your show. I think it's going to encourage people to come down to Evansville and be part of the state convention, which, from a monetary standpoint, can only help the state party. Fill all the seats for the convention. I think it's great. I think we need everybody who is interested in getting involved needs to jump in and throw their hat in the ring.
Right on, right on. All right. Any parting thoughts before we wrap it up today?
Nothing specific. I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention that I do feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants for all the state chairs that have come before me, Rutherford, Singer, Goldsting, Drexler, Houtman. I'm sure I've just forgotten somebody that they're probably going to be really upset. But, I do have one who's put in their efforts before. Me running and my ideas and wanting to change things up is not a criticism on anything anyone else has done in the past. I just think it's time that we've done everything we can with our current ideas and current structure, and I think we need to start going in a new direction.
Absolutely. Well, it's an exciting time for libertarians here in Indiana and throughout the country. And you mentioned some people there that we can really point to examples of good leadership and who have done a lot to bring the party to where we're at today. Sounds like you have some very interesting and intentional plans on how to take the party to the next level. So, either after the convention, you have to come back on. Will you join us again sometime in the not-too-distant future?
Oh, yes, please. Let me know, and I'll be happy to join you again anytime.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tim. And we'll see you next time on the computer. Bye now. Well, there you have it, the latest from Tim Maguire. Looks like it's going to be a very interesting convention down in Evansville. And look forward to learning more about Tim's plan and how it relates to what Jesse and Margaret have in store for the party or what they're hoping to make happen. Again, it looks like it's going to be a very interesting time down in Evansville this year. Okay, Indiana Libertarian Update returns next week with more information on the violation of the Indiana Constitution by IMPD and the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. We're working with the IJ right now to get a representative confirmed for next week's interview. If you have any questions you would like me to pursue on this matter, be sure to send them my way as possible. And likewise, if you have a news story, event, or meeting you want us to pass along, just send us a message via Facebook or drop me an email. That's jsipe@sipesociety, jsipe@sipesociety. The Indiana Libertarian Update is a production of SipesSociety.com. Sipes Society is your one-man education and content consultant. If you'd like me to work on any project, please be in touch. We can definitely make a daily, weekly, or similar program for your organization. Until next time, I'm Jason Sipe, and I'll see you on the computer.